The figures that I make, I basically try to think about what I played with and what was magical to me as a child growing up on a farm. Acorns and trees and leaves and stuff like that. And then I just sort of try to translate it, I guess, into toys somehow. I make little wooden toys and figures and also ornaments. One comment that a customer wrote to me that's always really stuck with me was, Amber's toys remind me of childhood crayon drawings translated into wood. I was like, yeah, they totally get it. Somebody gets it. That really inspired me to keep going and to keep making things. I grew up for the first half of my life really on a small farm in rural Wisconsin. I really think growing up in a rural area and growing up on lots of land and having, a forest in my backyard really has impacted the type of toys that I make now. I think that a lot of that has to do with now I live in Los Angeles, which is pretty much as far away and exact opposite as living on a small rural farm as you can get. And I don't know, maybe this is somehow my attempt to bring that into my son's life. When I started out as woodmouse, when I was pregnant with my son, and we started getting toys and registering for things, and I started thinking about all the toys that I grew up with, in the 70s and all the plastic toys, and thinking, where are they all now? They're all sitting in a landfill. Tons of them, all the toys throughout my whole lifetime are sitting in a landfill, and they're going to be there for thousands of years. Basically what I'm doing, and sort of my goal, is that I'm offering parents an alternative to the battery-operated flashing light plastic world of toys. I mean, my toys are compostable, or you could chuck them in the fireplace, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to sit around for 1,000 years, but they're still like quality, sturdy wooden toys so that, they could last generations, which is, that's sort of going back to the way things were done, with my grandparents were kids. My toy process is I come up with a design in my head, usually while laying in bed, not sleeping at night. And then I'll draw stuff on paper until I get the silhouette of the shape that I'm happy with, and then also the details of it. And then I cut it out basically and put that onto the wood. And I cut out the pieces, and then I wood burn the details, and then I paint. And then, of course, sanding, and then putting the polish on. Back when I was a painter, I used black ink to draw outlines of my designs on watercolor paper. And so when I started doing woodworking, I tried to think of a way to translate that same sort of style into my wooden toys. I hadn't ever seen anybody use wood burning on their toys before, except for in very, very old toys. I mean, wood burning has been around for thousands of years. And it's one of the first ways that people decorated art and wood especially. I try to be as eco-friendly as possible pretty much with this business. The wood that I use is sustainably harvested. I use poplar. Poplar is one of the fastest growing trees in the world. I don't want to use any rare woods or anything like that. The paint that I use is all certified non-toxic. I make my own polish. I go to the farmer's market and I get big boxes of beeswax. So it's just as earth-friendly as possible, I guess. I really, really like the online venue for selling my work because being a stay-at-home mom, I can list items at 3 o'clock in the morning while my son is sleeping, which is exactly what I do. Craft shows, you have to be there and prepare for it, and I can't do it. I don't have the time for it. There's a really great group of online sellers, and they're called the Natural Kids Team. And it's a team that a group of us started, and it's basically all products for children that are naturally made. And a lot of that is influenced by the Waldorf philosophy, it's called. And Waldorf philosophy basically is natural materials, and the most important thing are that the toys are open-ended. And this is something that really, really spoke to me in getting toys for my own son. Basically, if you give a child like a piece of colorful fabric, they can put that on as a cape and be Superman, or they could put it on the ground and pretend it's an alien landscape, or they could fly it through the air and dance around with it. Whereas if you give them a Superman costume, they're just Superman. You know what I mean? Like, that is not open-ended. But open-ended are things where it has multi-uses and you can play out all different types of scenarios. I think there is definitely a nostalgic element with the wooden toys and the wooden blocks to people in my generation, because a lot of my customers don't have children, which I think is really cool. They're buying it for themselves to somehow bring more of a simple time into their lives.